All right, so I'm back down here again tonight. Last night, I got the cabinet cleaned up, wiped down, so I can assess what all I need to do. I just need really to touch up some paint. Got some wiring issues to take care of. I don't want to put the monitor in until I get the side art on, because I'm going to put the bolts through the side art. So I'm going to hold off on that. Big issue that I got to work with is the control panel. This is the control panel off my previous cabinet. These are the 49-way sticks. 49-way because it has 2 positions in each direction. 49 combinations. Hopefully this thing didn't get kicked around and beat up too much, but I got to pull all of this off and put it on this control panel. Now, the acrylic for this one is in pretty rough shape. I think I'm going to leave it off right now. This is actually an original control panel for this cabinet. And what they would do is you'd have this one background label that you would put down, and then you would put artwork of where the control panel or where the joysticks were and all that kind of stuff. Right now, I'm just going to leave this thing off. I have seen these on eBay, but I'm not sure if it's the same button pattern. I mean, if I get another acrylic and it's already got the holes in it and I put it on here, it might not line up. So I've been kind of hesitant to order a new acrylic panel. I may see if I can get a blank one or maybe just another sheet of acrylic and cut it out. This stuff's real finicky to work with. A lot of times when you drill it, instead of actually cutting, it melts and then it solidifies, locks up on your drill bit. It's not fun to deal with. But for the meantime, I'm just going to transfer all this stuff over from this panel over to this one. Eventually, we will get a new acrylic, and then we'll have to take it all off and start over again. Good time. I'm not used to seeing that much empty space over there. Man, I really want to get those 2 puppies out here ASAP. I've also held off on getting an overlay for this because this is a custom setup here, and I'm not sure if this is going to match up with a pre-rendered printed overlay. You can see, like, here's a decal. I don't know how well that's coming up, but you've got the background that goes down, and then you have a decal with the button pattern. In fact, you can see the A button label is up underneath the start label, and you can't even see yet. You can see right here where they cut the hole, this button hole. It was here, and they had to move it over because it's probably going to be. It was probably too close to the edge to work. So even after they put the label, they at least had the foresight to drill it over here and cut that out and put a little patch in there to cover it up. So there's a little spot. Hopefully this doesn't get peeled up with people playing it anytime soon. Like I said, I'm going to replace all this eventually, but I'm not quite certain what the correct pattern is. I may have to get another custom one like this and replace it, and make my own custom acrylic cover as well. Over here you can see that one of the keepers are supposed to be like this on each side, and you can see how this slides. And what makes these sticks special is these opto switches and these little gates that hang down. So when you move the stick, it hits a gate this way and that way. As you can see, one of these tabs, or the bar is broke off of here. It's laying here somewhere. Not today. But anyway, something caught this, broke it off. I actually do have another set of sticks for spares, so I'm not too worried about that. But these sticks aren't cheap, and they're not used on a lot of games. They're mostly used on Blitz, NBA Showtime, and Gauntlet Legends. So actually, I do have a set of spares, and I've got a set in my Gauntlet Legends. But obviously, those aren't going anywhere. I love my Gauntlet Legends. That's another one of those cabinets I'm never getting rid of. Okay, we're gonna have to pull all these sticks off. We got a C clip, an E clip, or even a Jesus clip. The names that this goes by. Several different ways to get these out. A good way is to maybe even grab it by the opposite of the gap, grab it with pliers and pull it off, or push both tabs at the same time. Sometimes you can use a set of snap ring pliers and put them in there like a spreader position and spread the ends. If you're not careful, it will fly off, and that's where it gets the name Jesus clip, because you're like, Jesus, where did it go? And it's gone forever. All right. Slide the stick out the bottom now. Or technically out the top, I guess. We are going to set these aside to be washed. Can't remember where I got these steel coin buckets. I think they came out of claw machines back when I was doing that. I'm gonna make a handy little park bin for right now. Ow! You didn't hear that. All right. Oh! Yeah, manly ow, not a little squeaky ow. Because I'm worried that these are just going to get lost, I'll pull them out too. All right. Okay, we got the sticks out of there. I need some wire labels. It'd be real sweet if I could pull all that off with the wiring harness intact. Maybe asking too much. Too much sugar for $1, as the old man would say. All right, I didn't find my wire label book, but I did find this old roll of numbers here. Pretty much the same thing. Most of the numbers are gone. You know what? As long as I can keep the numbers like in groups, I can sort the buttons out later. I'm all out of ones, so I'm going to skip one. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. But hey, we use what we got, right? Once we get it together and we get the game working, I can put it in a test menu and hit switches until I know which one goes where. No big deal. Years ago, I did a really big trade. I basically traded the Ferrari cabinet, the Ferrari F355 cabinet that was in a warehouse pickup. I got it working and I traded it for a truckload of arcade games. In that truckload of games was, I forget what you call it, deluxe, I can't think of it now. It was a Dynamo, oh man, can't think of the name. But it had the big upright floor cabinet with a big, huge, like 30-something inch monitor. I still have the monitor. And it had the pedestal that rolled around and folded in front of it. And it sat here in the shop. It was just too big for my game room. Yeah, because at that time, I actually had my game room to play games. I had this 4-player ice cabinet that was also Blitz that I picked up. However, the boards were burnt up and beyond repair. I put the board out of the pedestal set into the ice cabinet, and I had a good working Blitz for a while. I'm sure I've got it in some of my previous videos. And towards the end, it was having reboot issues, which I believe was caused by some bad power issues, because these boards are notorious for burning the connectors up on going into the PCB, kind of like Gauntlet Legends did. What we'll do is we'll reroute it into the hard drive cable and backfeed it into the board. Now, even though that one joystick, like I said, it was not in the best of shape, go ahead and install it because I can replace this plastic piece on the bottom. I believe I've done that before. The good news is nobody's put hot glue on these buttons to hold them in place. Sometimes these buttons are tough to keep tight. So I found that some operators will hot glue them bad boys in place. I think when I got this cabinet, it had drink spilt into it. It was pretty filthy. It was an okay cabinet. It was just an ugly cabinet. Ice is the ones that make the Cyclone ticket game, redemption game, where you got to hit the button and stop the lights going in a circle. All the skill-based redemption games are long gone, folks. Sorry. Like, you remember the ball roller? Does anybody remember the ball roller games? You had this little ramp and you had to push the ball and make it roll over the hill, and it had to stop at just right. If it went all the way, it would hit a button at the end, no good. If you didn't push it hard enough, it would come back, no good. But you had to make it land right in the hump. And I remember those things lined up with skee balls. And there were people that were really good at it. And that was their trick to make earning tickets. You don't see those anymore. People figured them out. They had to get rid of them. They had to go. People were winning those prizes. Well, all your redemption games had to go to chance. Oh, Ice makes Ice Ball, which is a completely different company than Skee Ball. Skee Ball is owned by Baytech now, and those are wooden balls, and Ice uses plastic balls, and the balls are not compatible. I guess they're a different size or something. Interesting little trivia there for you. Now we've got that old control panel stripped down. Don't need it no more. Okay, I'm not tossing it yet, but it's moved to the next stage of going away. Part of that hoarding mentality. Everything has to leave in stages. The method to the madness. All right, so I'm just cleaning everything down, trying to get rid of some of the funk off of this over the years. Now, an interesting thing about this cabinet is this is a steel plate right here. It's got studs on it and it bolts down to the wood, and the joysticks are screwed down underneath, so there's no exposed bolts for the joysticks. They will all be bolted in from underneath. The nuts are already inserted here. They got some T-nuts already machined in. Everything's nice and recessed, which also leaves me thinking that this was a factory control panel, and it's just been modified several times over the years. Like I said, this once had NBA Jam at some point. Well, I pulled this off, I gave it a good wipe down, and I'm just going to continue wiping stuff down. I noticed I had a lot of paint overspray, so I got some denatured alcohol, wiping stuff down, trying to get any sticky goo or anything nasty and any kind of paint overspray off of there, because we don't like that. I'm just going to keep on working. Not a whole lot of action going on here. So while I was getting busy with that denatured alcohol, I cleaned this panel up, and man, this thing has got some rough edges. It's got cigarette burns across it, but it's what we got. So, you know what, I'm going to use it. We're going to put it on there and roll with it. But I am noticing that the bolts that hold it on do not go all the way through. They only go through into the metal. So I've got to pull the metal panel off, bolt the plexi to the metal, and then bolt the metal and the plexi to the wood control panel. I don't remember that when I took it apart. That was quite a while ago, but apparently that's how it was done. And that's gonna suck. I'm gonna go see if I can find, because these had to be some really stubby bolts, because they drilled holes, and I noticed they didn't go all the way through, but they drilled holes in the control panel for the nuts and the bolts to go through to hold the plexi to the control panel. And oh boy. So over there in the pile of crap, the control box that the control panel goes on, that's sits up there. It's sitting over there on top of the Gallagher cocktail, which is probably on its way out soon. Laying next to it is all the screws. Problem is, all of them are rusted over. So guess what? I'm fixing to chuck every one of these bad boys in the drill and scotch pad them, and we're gonna stain them. Got my old wood block full of holes here for painting bolts and screws. And I'm just gonna take that screw, chuck it up in that drill bit like that, chuck it up in the drill chuck like that, and then I'm taking that in. I'm just doing that on a nice lean scotch pad. Oh, look at there. Polished up nicely it did. And then I'm going to drop it in the board. Nothing to it. Look at them shiny boys right there. Look at them. If I knew they would stay shiny like that, I'd almost leave them, but I know it's only a matter of time with greasy hands. Well, the oil in hands will cause these to corrode pretty quick, not to mention the moisture in the air and whatnot. So I can probably hit these with some black acrylic. I say acrylic, I meant lacquer. I'd use this black lacquer. It puts a nice durable finish on there and doesn't wear off as much. Plus it dries really fast. So let's lean this over here because we got to wait on them little bolts over there before we can do anything with that. Hey, look, spray paint cap will hold my nuts nicely. So we don't have to put any bolts through. We can go ahead and set our sticks up. Look at here, we already got a tangle mess already. Okay, player 4. This is the it's flipped over, so that's going to be over here. Trying to remember here oh, this is the bottom, so the hinge is there. So yes, that's player 4. 2, 3, 4. All right. And it's actually got tags on here for player 1 and 2 and 3, but as you can see, they're on the verge of falling off. So it's a good thing we labeled all these guys here. All right. Now, unlike that one, where the bolts went through and it was bolted on there, this one, on this control panel, they're going to be bolted from the bottom. Hinge is on the bottom. That's on the top, so it flips up, so the wires have to go that way. So this has to go. I know player 3 fell off because I found it laying on the ground over there. Player 4. Okay, I'm going to go over here and look at the rest of our parts we got laying around. I'm not seeing any screws. I know we had to have some. This is punishment for taking too long with your projects. This control panel originally had 4-way sticks, which I still have the sticks. And there should be a box somewhere with, well, the actual sticks and the screws. Hey, look, I found another bucket of parts here. Let's see. I don't know. Hey, look. Oh, that's the money getting something. Here's our monitor. Here's some monitor brackets. And here's the sticks. I think we got it. That did not go to the boat, but these are our monitor brackets for this cabinet, so we're getting somewhere. I think these are all the old buttons and stuff up here. dump this all over the floor and kick it around, scratch it around, and oh, look here, we got screws. All right. All right, we're back in business. I was about to give it all up. One of these days, I'll get organized. And the only way we're gonna get organized is to wrap up some of this stuff and get it out of here. Got a stack of batteries in there in the charger, but you know what? No, I'm just gonna sit here and hot swap batteries. In case anybody's wondering, it is currently 8:30 at night. Had a long day today at work. I usually get up and start my day at 6, get to work around 7. Got off work, had some errands to run today. Oh, come on! Okay, are we back on? All right, we're back on. Man, everything kind of died there. My phone died, but most importantly, my GoPro died. And my battery swelled up and tried to go nuclear on me there. So you can see it took a lot of work, but I managed to get it out of there. He didn't want to give up. But yeah, he had swelled up and was getting hotter and hotter. The GoPro overheated and quit. And I opened it up and the battery wouldn't come out. So I managed to stick 2 razor blades in each side of it to mash it flat enough. And then I managed to chew enough of it there to get a bite on it with a pair of pliers. And managed to get him bit on there and pulled out. So yeah, we've got all these. I'm missing 2 screws for that last joystick right there. I've been through the parts bucket and either they disappeared or they didn't exist to start with. So it looks like we're gonna end up making 2 screws anyway. But at least it's just 2 and not 16. Perfect. Okay, let's check our bolts over here. Yep, that's what I like about that lacquer. They're already dry. Okay, next step. Put our acrylic and our metal cover back together here. And my nuts go in the paint cap. I hate using this old control panel, but I want to get this thing going. Get it together. You know, I'm very impressed. Not only did I have all the screws for this, I had all the nuts too. Set this down. Get our 3/8 nut driver. That's interesting. So not only did this have these nuts here, but it also had some screws, wood screws and nuts holding it on. These are for the latches that lock the control panel down. Okay, so we need to start putting buttons on, and all these buttons are going to need washing and cleaning. So I'm going to take them in there in the sink and start cleaning them up. New buttons would always be nice too, but yeah, I like cleaning stuff up and saving some of the old stuff. Plus, you know, we save a lot of money doing this. This is games from the dead, not games from the store. I think the red, blue, and orange ones are in pretty good shape. The white ones are a bit faded. Probably pick the worst place to put that camera. Even though some of these weren't that bad, I'm gonna make sure we get all the years of soap and years of soda and beer and everything else that was spilt in that control panel out of there. That way nothing's sticky. Well, that's like the number one thing I find on old games is not only is it the buttons that get sticky, but it actually runs down into the micro switches, and the micro switches are sticky. Another reason why new buttons are nice, but this is games from the dead, not games from eBay. Oh man, the last one is the one that's gonna kick my butt. Aha. Okay, now that those are all wet, get our buttons out here, laid out to dry. Alright, those boys are going to dry. And you know what, guys? I think I'm going to call it a night. We'll get back down here again tomorrow. And actually, no, tomorrow we got another game, Go Get Adventure. This is going to be a big one. So, probably already posted it. But when we get back, we're going to put these buttons on our control panel, get it all completed, and see about mounting it onto our control panel box. No, I'm not going to put that there. That is going to sit out here for tonight, and we'll make sure that goes in our battery disposal tomorrow. I'm not that heartless, guys. I actually do make sure my batteries are properly disposed. Matter of fact, there's a stack of batteries right there waiting for disposal.